Greetings and salutations. I am late. I'm also Karen Russmore. And this is my stream of Pathfinder Kingmaker. Really can't remember where I'm up to right now. I did get my affiliate status like last week, and my emotes are now in play. Which is a nice thing. So we have emotes for people, which I'm just taking a quick squint at. So this is the first time I've actually gotten to see them live. I'm hoping the artist to a certain degree just turns up as well to double check them. They're in the chat. Hi Josh. So yeah, I now have emotes. Woo. Unfortunately, it's one of them where it's like they're only accessible if you actually subscribe to my channel, and it's one of them where it's like I'm not fussed if people want to just hang out and not subscribe to my channel. I just wish to a certain degree there's a way of making them freely available. You know, some of them at least freely available. And then it's like, here you go, here's some basic emotes. If you want the fancier emotes, then you got to pay me. If you want the really fancy emotes, you got to pay me a lot. At the moment, I'm allowed one emote per tier of subscription. So even if you did subscribe to me, all you would get is the basic K-bot emote, which is that one. If if you subscribed at tier 2, which is like, I think it's something like 10 quid, or $10, you get access to that one. And then there's the third tier, which is like 20 odd quid, which I don't know about you, but I'd never consider a individual streamer worth 20 quid just to watch them and get hold of a bunch of emotes, unless they've got some incentive behind it, where it's like, hey, if you subscribe for 6 months to my channel at this tier, then I'll send you a postcard on your birthday or something like that. But even then, it's not like, really? 120 quid for a postcard? Probably not worth it. I suppose if there was more audience participation. Still not quite sure what to do for the channel points. I've been thrashing around some ideas. So for 10 million, you can get a commission of K-bot in whatever design you want, and I will be paying the person that I get to do the art, and you will be detailing them how you want it to look. I'm just trying to check. Does my eye really look that bad, or is it totally in shadow? I think it's just a shadow. I'm trying to figure out how to get my eye not in shadow. Yeah, it's just in shadow. I need to sort out the lighting here at some point. Anyway, without further ado, let us get on with the game. If I can remember where we're up to. Oh, Khalid Barbarian Camp. The person finally gave me 3 locations that they want me to go to, including giving me the passphrase for getting past a door, which was that was a bit of a sledgehammer of a clue, if you ask me. I like the way that people were just like, what is this about? And it's like, really? You're having to think about it? How about that door that you just couldn't get past? Because it was magically sealed. I think this is another problem with this playthrough, because I'm not being a rogue. Because I'm not being the traditional rogue or adventurer and picking everything that isn't nailed down. I'm being selective. It must not have an owner. It must not. That's interesting. Hey. Owlcat Games just liked my tweet for going live. Oh yeah, that was it. Sepulchre of Forgotten Heroes, the City of Hollowed Eyes, and there was a third location, the Forsaken Mound. The thing is, the City of Hollowed Eyes sound the most interesting to me, but the Sepulchre of Forgotten Heroes is probably where I should go. Random encounter, straight off the bat. Great stuff. That doesn't sound pleasant. We got a wyvern, we got 2 wyverns, we got a yellow Duomo wyvern. Alright, so... 5 delay until after you. Which one's you? Oh, you're the yellow Duomo one. Right, so if you charge at them, and slash, and then you actually delay until after them, you'll have no option but to attack Valerie and miss terribly.
This should do it.
And I will come in and stab you. Get my sneak attack, and you won't excessively do anything. Alright. Now the fact that there's some over here and one over here is a little bit awkward. Possibly should have gone the other way first. But we're just gonna have to make do with what we got. Probably gonna use a little bit over the top. Although, is it really worth it now that that's pretty much pummeled them? What are we aiming for? We're aiming for a 17 and we've got a attack. Okay, so you should be able to hit at least once. Let's keep moving away.
Serves you right.
Not bad. Probably gonna use... Yeah, probably gonna use a spell. Oh, I could actually use... There's some spells that I can use because there's nobody else around. Let's try that one. Not great, but not too terrible.
Let us strike as one.
And then they died. And I've just realised I'm not muted to something. Let's mute that. Let's just make it let me know if he's on his way. He'll be a little while. And then Valerie start moving in that direction. Carry on, charge that guy.
This spell doesn't work like that.
Because of a flimsy little tree, couldn't sneak up at it. I mean, we did crit it.
Calculated risk. Tear them apart!
It's no point in wasting too much more magic on this.
You deserved it.
And so everybody else is freed up. Say oof. It's like, barely doing any damage even though it is damaging. Can you now charge at that one? Sure, go for it.
This will hurt.
They
go down!
And some of them exploded. Which is not good because you can't skin them when they explode. Trying to think of everybody's backstories. Which one? Because Jubilios is, you know, the inconsequence debate. Which was an interesting backstory side mission kind of thing. Oh my word, I just want to check on how my kingdom's doing before I go into a dungeon. goblins that I can't sneak away from.
Do not falter!
You forced my hand.
And then it exploded.
This is for you!
But yeah, one of the things that I did think about doing with the channel points is I'm thinking of sort of like restructuring my schedule a little bit once I'm done with things. There's always going to be the primary game that I'm playing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's always going to be the streams that I'm going to try to make no matter what. And then on Mondays and Fridays, so like the next game I'm playing, so for example at the moment it's Cyberpunk 2077. Now there's a reasonable chance that I'm actually going to finish Cyberpunk 2077 before I finish Pathfinder Kingmaker. But that's by the by. But then on...
Any last wishes?
With the secondary game, it's going to be a guarantee to be playing it on a Friday. Or maybe the Monday. At least once a week. But for the other session, I'm going to be tempted to play some games that I wouldn't usually think to stream because, you know, when I first started streaming, I played Monster Train and I played Banners of Ruin for a couple of streams. And it was only really a couple of streams because one of the things is it's all like Monster Train. I think I managed to do at least one run in the 3 hours that I was streaming.
So let's come to this.
Might have even managed to get 2 runs, maybe at least started if not completed. And Banner Rune, yeah, the run was longer and it took 2 streams to complete that, but that was it. That was pretty much the entirety of the game in 2 streams. Without going into all the, and why am I looting everything? I don't want all this junk. But yeah, that was pretty much the entirety of the game in 2 streams. And I like those kind of games. I like the pick up and play and not have to worry too much about an overarching plot for very long. Now don't get me wrong, I enjoy games like Pathfinder Kingmaker because it's all like, no, this isn't a short game, this isn't going to be like done and dusted in a couple of hours. This is going to be going on for a bit, but I like the mix between the two. It's probably the best way of putting it, rather than saying I like one over the other. No, I like both. Both have certain appeal to me. But I don't get, but because of the way that I'm streaming, on the Saturdays it's usually a co-op game with my cat, which is fine. You know, there's plenty of different games out there that I can do that with. But also when it comes to like the other games, like for example, I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone recently, and you know, doing a couple of streams, or maybe, you know, so like rather than fancy playing Cyberpunk 2077, it's like, today I'm just going to continue streaming the Hearthstone games that I've been playing. Potentially seeing if anybody's got any advice for me, because I am lousy at deck builder games. Especially when it's sort of like collectible card games, because it's like, I gotta really do with this card, but I don't have that card. What's a good substitute for it? There's also a lot of, I used to play Magic the Gathering with real life actual cards, and I've also played a little Magic the Gathering online through both Magic the Gathering Online and Magic the Gathering Arena. And again, they're a little bit about finding the combos that really work well, and I've only ever really found one, and that was, it's gone 5 or 6 years ago now, for a card block, I forget what they call them, where it's, maybe I should have rested before coming in here. A little bit injured, lost a few spells. I'm probably going to, as much as this loading screen is annoying me because it's taking so long, I'm probably going to nip back out and get some rest before heading into this dungeon, because it's probably, I think it's probably going to be a long one. Knowing my luck, now that I'm faffing around with it, it'll be a very short one, and it's like there's 3 rooms beyond this door, and hey ho, there's the plot, there's the dead great-grandfather. What more do you need? Can almost bet your bottom dollar that if I don't do this, it also gives me 1 temporary hit point a day, go longer per level for the day. Bonus movement speed, temporary hit points, bonus to all saving throws. I'm probably going to go for the bonus to all saving throws, which wouldn't even be that, but I can't fail. But I'm going to make the shepherd's pie as soon as I bother to look at the screen.
Octavia, show me that fire trick again. The one you did to entertain the children at the Capitol.
Seriously? You're not 5, you know. All right. I have to finish something, but then I'll show you.
But yeah, and in this particular block I managed to find a combo. It was basically, if you had this creature, it could untap other creatures of its type. And then there was other creature of its type which would generate your mana. And if you had 2 of these in play, they'd untap each other. So you could tap one to untap the other, as well as untapping all the ones that generated mana. So you generate all the mana you need to cast whatever spell at whatever deadliness level you wanted. And if you still needed more mana by the end of it all, you just tapped them again, and it would untap the rest of them, and you kept on playing around like that. Plus, as well, at the end, when you've generated all your mana and got everything sorted out, you could just tap one so that you got everybody to then attack with, if you so desire. And this is back when I was playing with real cards, and it's like, oh, that's an interesting combo that you could come up with. Clep. Without a sound, the door slides to the sides, revealing the passageway beyond.
In due time.
More Cyclopsian stuff.
Anything else?
Mordecai is our master, we are his humble servants. I keep hearing that word and I keep forgetting why it's interesting. Is it in the journal? Nope. Nope. Mordecai, this cryptic word must be connected with everything going on around here, but what or who is this Mordecai? Okay, so Mordecai is our master, we are his humble servants. And it's in a Cyclopsian tomb, but doesn't seem to have been
That is
opened
not far.
for quite a while. Barbarian sits leaning against the wall, surrounded by dead bodies. He seems to be barely alive. His entire face is a bloody wound, tattered with scraps of skin dangling from it. As he hears your footsteps, he blindly turns towards the sound and raises his sword with immense effort. Friend or foe? Neutral evil, whatever. The defaced sister sent us. That witch. Look, I don't know who you are, but you can't trust her. We made that mistake and look what happened. Who are you? Bragg, son of Verig, and of Dil, of the Tigerlord tribe. Came from Numeria. If you meet my people, tell them where and how I died. But you're still alive. Don't stop fighting. It's too late to fight. I can feel the life leaving my body with each breath. I'll heal you. Don't bother. Who needs a blind cripple? Best to finish me. At least I'll die like a fighter, sword in hand, ready to meet Gorum. It is not yet your time. The barbarian's wounds close and his bleeding stops. But he remains blind. It will take much more powerful magic to restore his eyesight. He exhales with relief. Thank you. I'm not sure how to live on, what I'll do, but I'll figure something out. You'll manage. I know you will. What happened here? That cursed witch brought us here, blathered on and about some exalted mission, promised us Cyclops treasure. Well, look what we got. As soon as we entered, dead Cyclops attacked us, and then there was a flash in the fight and everything went insane. It was like a red-hot nail driven into my brain. I had an irresistible urge to kill, didn't matter who. I resisted it, barely, but most of us weren't so lucky. It was a slaughter. A nightmare where it was impossible to tell friend from foe. We tried to retreat, but they followed. One grabbed my head and squeezed, almost cracked me open like a walnut. My eyes, last thing I saw was his fingers. If Vahan hadn't chopped off his hand and dragged me out of here, I'd be dead already. She slammed the door right on our noses. Oh, Vaha, you haven't heard from her in a while. Probably dead now. Nice treasure hunting trip we had, huh? So many good warriors left to meet Gorum before their time, all thanks to that witch. When I get my hands on her, I have to go. Gorum bless you. The broken body of a barbarian woman lies near the floor panel that opens the door. She died recently, probably from massive blood loss. This must be Vanha. Shiny things. Taking it slowly because I want to keep in formation. Probably also traps around.
As it should be.
Can you make an epic pose? I need inspiration.
So yeah, after finishing one of my games, be it Pathfinder Kingmaker or Cyberpunk 2077. I'm probably going to go for a bit of an alternative schedule of, especially on one of the streams, probably not the other one, and always the main game for Thursday, Friday is always going to be
This is where I
on
step
both
in.
Thursday and Tuesday and Thursday. Would help if I remember what day of the week I'm talking about. A Dread Cyclops Priest. I don't think I like the sound of him.
Interesting.
Let us strike as one. Tear them apart!
Repent.
I'm gonna focus upon the priest. Valerie should have the armor to
Serves
take
you
care of
right.
the other Cyclops.
A calculated risk. Yeah.
That was not much damage at all. Can we charge over there? No, we can't. But we can get in position for sneak attacks. First up is Octavia.
You forced my hand.
I also added a card below that basically it's a list of games that I intend on playing on the channel. Not entirely sure when or how I'm going to get around to all of them. But if you go take a look at the list, you know, some of them are very much in the similar style as Pathfinder Kingmaker, you know, third-person squad-based gaming, with fairly heavy plots.
You deserved it.
Can't remember what else I put into the list. But there's, you know, I'm tempted to go down the route of Fallout, maybe Skyrim, that kind of thing. Still not sure about Fallout, because one of the things about Fallout, the body here has been horribly mutilated. It looks like a huge cyclopean hand palm crushed the skull and removed the brain. Mordecai be praised through the centuries for his greatness, for he is the greatest of the greatest. Fallen Warrior's Buckle, padded armor +3. Was there a door over here? It looks like there should be a door over here. The fact that I can see through the wall. It might open up later. Look, barbarians. Let's wait for this prayer to run out. Okay.
I'm listening. I am yours to command.
What for Gorham?
Let's try this way.
Might be a bad idea, but Oh, hammer is broke because I charged her. You're flat-footed. Regret. You're not flat-footed. Or is it uncanny dodge? Yeah, something like that potentially.
Any last wishes?
So it's come to this.
Which ones? I was tempted to
Let
leave it
yourself open.
for when Valerie got into position, but seeing as how Valerie goes after it, and it went before, would have been able to strike out at me. Looking good. Thought about Baldur's Gate 3 and Celestis Crown of Majesty. I forget about these games because I have an absolutely lousy memory, but no, you're right. Baldur's Gate 3 for sure, and I do need to check out Celestis again. It's been mentioned before, I believe, by you. But it's one of them where I've totally forgotten about it. But yeah, we'll probably add at least Baldur's Gate to that list. Might add the other one to the list. Depends on how it looks, and I'll probably check out a video or two about how it plays. One of the things I'm not so sure about Baldur's Gate 3, I've got nothing wrong with the studio who's making it, because I do like Divinity and Divinity Original Sin and Divinity 2 Original Sin.
Do not falter.
My only concern is that they've made Baldur's Gate too much in a similar vein, and I don't think they're good streaming games, because
if I have to.
unless you actually know what you're getting yourself into with those games,
This is
I
where
find
I
it
stand.
relies a lot on save scumming. It can very much fully flip from perfectly healthy, everybody's
This
healed
should
up.
do it.
You've got all your spells prepared, you walk into a fight against a foe that you don't quite understand, and you just get massacred. Nice. Again, looks like a door that can't be opened. So if Baldur's Gate 3 goes down the similar vein,
In due time.
it's one that I probably won't want to stream on camera. Not because it's a bad game, but I don't.
All according to plan.
With the fact that, Divinity is a lot of saves coming at times. I do wish I knew what these orbs were.
And then our leader charged forwards. Hey, wait for me.
Because I've seen it in 2 tombs now. 2 tombs? 2 tomes. But yeah, if it's a lot of saves coming, or with my playstyle it's a lot of saves coming, probably going to play that offline rather than on stream. Because I find the whole reloading of it, Divinity, like I say, it's one of them where it's like I have to play it with one hand on the save button at all times, because it'll be like, aha, I've entered a new room and there's
Serenray,
frogs.
Be generous to them, for I am not.
So I've seen where 2 bad rolls ended with your face eaten. Yeah, The thing is, it depends on how much... because I've had bad luck with this game, where it's like, I've just not been paying enough attention. I've put my leader into the wrong position in a fight. They're already at death's door, and they just get absolutely massacred. It happens from time to time.
Look at me, Goro!
With Divinity, they do a lot of aha got you moments, I find, where you'll walk into a room, you're not expecting a trap, and all of a sudden monsters will start busting out of the walls, and it's like, where did these things come from? And in this, for example, if they actually had somebody who patrolled around and could walk up behind the group, then I'd potentially be tempted to change my tactics to that, so that I've got a fighter in the front and a fighter in the back. But sometimes, just because I'm moving a long distance and everybody gets a little bit out of place, Abyss calls to Abyss. People have gotten out of position, and part of getting out of position means that the cleric is up front. And sometimes that can end with a bit of a rough deal. Which door did that just open? Please don't be one of these puzzle areas where it's like, oh, opening this door. Yeah, again, that wouldn't be too bad if it did a autosave just before it. So it's like, yeah, you died. But at the same token, it's like, it kind of takes it out of it a little if every time that there's a major thing like that, it does save it. The whole saves coming. I don't mind it when, there's a part of this where it was sort of like the other world with the riddle and the flipping between the now and the then and plants being in the way and the rest of it. It's like that, to a certain degree, that frustrated me with how much I was having to reload. But at the same token, basically I worked out, for the sake of the stream, what I'm going to do. Why did you stop? Why aren't you moving forward? Okay, don't move forward then.
A calculated risk.
That's not a good thing.
Serves you right.
Yay! Hit him for no points of damage.
You forced my hand.
Stay behind me.
But yeah, in Divinity I find, and potentially Baldur's Gate, I've not actually watched anything because, I try to avoid spoilers. It's very much one of them where it's like,
You can't stop me.
being in a room and the enemy's coming out of the walls, and it's like, I was not prepared for this. I wasn't prepared for a fight. I need to cast these spells to get me up and going. And if you've not saved for a while, then it's a major problem. If it autosaves just before the dialogue, then it's like, well, what's the point in this dialogue where the game ends if you roll badly, and it's auto-saving it, you're just going to reload it and keep going at it until you roll well. I think to a certain degree, it's one of the differences I find heavily between tabletop role-playing and video games.
This will hurt.
Because when it comes to video games, you've always got a save file that you can go back to, unless you're playing it in something like Iron Man mode. And even then, if you're playing it in Iron Man mode, you're expecting, you know, the face eating to be the end of it, and you've got to start again. So I wouldn't recommend an Iron Man mode for the first playthrough of any game, because there's going to be aha gotcha moments. But if you know... No, it's a spellcast.
Let us strike as one.
I mean, it failed. It failed, but it's a spellcast. What do you mean you can't charge at it?
Tear
Oh,
them
dang
apart!
it.
This is for you.
So yeah, Iron Man
Let's
mode to
try
me is
this
always
way.
how, like, my memory versus my optimal build versus the plot.
This should do it.
Because there have been, you know, I remember Deus Ex, the original game, where it was like, it was so much easier if you could loot everything, because there was some locks
I'll try to
that
make
you
this
would
swift.
potentially struggle to get past, and or, you know, whatever was past it was well worth usually the investment that the game made you put into it. But at that same token, you know, if you know, there'd be a door code, and if you didn't know what the door code is, then there was usually somewhere you could find the door code, and in some cases you had to buy it off somebody.
I'll fight if
If
I
you
have
bought
to.
it off somebody, then you would be down that many credits, so that when you found somebody that you could buy something off, it would straight up be so, but you don't have the money for
Didn't even
this
break a
because you bought the key code for that. So then, depending on what you were doing for the playthrough, would heavily depend
So it's come to
on,
this.
you know, especially if you would try not to do the whole save reload thing.
Do not falter.
But again, in Iron Man mode, it'd be cases of I'd just walk up to a cabinet that's locked, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a medkit in this cabinet that I want because, you know, it's valuable and it might have. Ooh,
Don't hesitate.
that's unidentified. Are they all unidentified? They are not. It was just that one there. Right, so no further doors in here. But yeah, by basically playing that game so often and
What a find!
having a reasonable
believe I found
memory
something.
back then, it'd be a case of I'd just run up to
A trivial
a
matter.
locked door,
It is finished.
and it's like, yeah, I'm just going to grab everything in this cabinet because I remembered it, and then I'd have more money to spend at vendors and whatnot. Meaning that an Iron Man run wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Robe of Fire. What's a Robe of Fire do for me? Because what are we wearing? We're wearing the Draping Veil of Prowess. 10 electrical resistance, 10 cold resistance, plus 2 deflection bonus to AC, and the ability to cast Enlarge Person. And we just picked up the Robe of Fire. Fire Aura. Which grants a DC 2 bonus to fire spells. That's not great. Composite short bow. Are you actually specialized in longbow? No, character abilities. Yeah, you actually have the weapon focus like crossbow. Okay. Really need to do with getting you a new crossbow at some point. Actually, here, have a masterwork one. Why not? that light? No, that's a heavy crossbow. Are you actually good at crossbow? You're not really, are you? I'll probably switch you two over. I know Josh, you mentioned it a while ago, but I should probably consider swapping them over. But that's a 10 plus 5, that's a 10 plus 5, but... I don't know. Why aren't you as... Why aren't you a lot better at that? Oh, the size modifier. Is that... Oh, you've got a negative level? What? How many people get negative levels? I think that trap that went off gave me negative levels. I mean, it's only got 58 minutes on the clock. I could just wait here until it's over.
Confide in me.
I'm kidding. I'm not going to make everybody sit through me waiting an hour for this to be over. That doesn't help with negative levels. Does that help with negative levels? Spellbook. Level 5. Level 4? Level 4. Restoration. Info. Restoration cures any temporary ability damage and restores all points permanently from a single ability score. Also eliminates any fatigue, exhaustion suffered. I tactically save a lot in this. I have 2 characters with trickery. If one fails a lock, I will save before letting the other try. I save before entering the location, so if I can't go back to it's showing the area is not visited. I also save before leaving my kingdom territory in case bad problems failing. Yeah, and I totally appreciate that. You know, it's like I have been there myself, where there are some games that I will play where I accept nothing but perfection. You know, in the good old days of the XCOM series, XCOM Apocalypse, and some of the newer ones, there were... Not so much with the newer ones, because they were not as harsh. You know, if you lost a soldier in the newer ones, then it was like, well, no big... You can just replace them. Yes, it's a little more difficult if you've got an entire team of fresh people. But they were a lot more resilient. In XCOM Apocalypse, there's these little blighters who ran around called brain suckers, and they could jump on anybody's head, suck out their brains, and then the person will be gone and lost. And having somebody that you trained up, because that was the other thing, it wasn't level based for that one. It was like if you got injured, you lost some hit points, but then that character would have a few more hit point total, because it's that resilience from using hit points to gathering them up. If they did a lot of running around, their stamina and their speed would increase. If they shot a gun a lot, their accuracy would increase. And so actually getting towards the later end of the gaming, where people's stats were vastly different from a beginner level soldier, you know, it'd be painful to lose anybody. And also, you know, towards the start of the game, it's like, yes, okay, you can just replace these people at will, give or take. If you took too many losses, then you wouldn't be able to go on some missions because it's like, yeah, this is a big area that you need to search through, and the aliens would just flee the area before you managed to round them all up, letting them loose on the city, which was, again, a pain in the ass situation to occur. Because what would happen is aliens would come in and sort of like, you could see them, you could track them on the overall map, and it's like, okay, they've put down some troops there, they've put down some troops over there, and you'd then be able to go to that place and investigate it for aliens before you got alerted. That meant it wasn't, they didn't have time to disperse around the city. They would just be there. If you let them disperse, then you'd lose track of them because you don't know where they're going, and you'd end up cleaning up after them for quite a while. If everybody was injured or dead or waiting to be replaced, and you had 3 or 4 things going on, it would be nigh on impossible to get them all before they managed to disperse and start disrupting what you were doing. So for that, I save-scummed a lot, especially seeing as though, a lot of these things was all like, you get one bad roll on a brain sucker and it's like, your best trooper, no matter how well protected, no matter how strong they are, one bad roll and that's it, they're gone. So I would save and reload a hell of a lot in that game. For this, I'm trying a little bit more of a story narrative approach, more akin to that of a tabletop game. In tabletop games, basically, you don't get rerolls, you don't get do-overs, you don't get save files. You get one shot at this, and if you fail for whatever reason, then nobody would stop.
A trivial matter.
Then it's a case of like, you failed, that's it, your opportunity at that is over, and you've got to deal with the consequences. Which I feel gives a bit more of a narrative experience.
Here.
Enemy approaching.
That I kind of like. It would be better to a certain extent if it wasn't so brutal at times. But we've seen with the occasional time where it's like, yes, him being there could be a terrible idea right now if there's this barbarian shot at him and this one runs up to him and rages. It might end up with bad times for Chiron. And depending on how the dice rolls, it might end up bad. One of the things about playing on the tabletop role-playing game is J Station. So this is the sepulture of the Forgotten Heroes. The last we saw, we'd gone to the camp with the barbarians. We'd spoken to the Faceless Sisters? I think they're the Faceless. What do they call themselves? The Defaced Sisters. And they gave us 3 objectives. The City of Hollowed Eyes, another sister went to the Sepulchre of the Forgotten Heroes, and one went to look for the Forsaken Mound. Because the Lost Brother, I believe, we've looked it up and it's related to the Sepulchre of Forgotten Heroes, I decided to come here first, managed to get in through the door, found a barbarian in the lobby kind of thing, who was part of the original group who came here. The place apparently is riddled with magic-wielding cyclops, and in the initial onslaught, a spell went off that drove him nearly insane, but everybody else insane, you couldn't tell friend from foe, and essentially that's what we're dealing with here.
Training pays
Ah,
off.
the defaced sisters. Right.
You
Spread all
can't
my
stop me.
melee attackers around to the point where a bit of a... Oh, did get a sneak attack on it. Yeah, as soon as I got to this place,
This will hurt.
I don't think there is non-lethal in Pathfinder. In the video game, anyway. We're also not really judged, I think,
Any last
for
wishes?
killing these people too harshly. Which is definitely something
You
that I
forced
would do
my
if this
hand.
was a actual game. Oh, Joe Station, now that you're here and you're a moderator, can you just check your emotes? And do you have, as a moderator, access to my emotes? Because now that I've got the emotes, I'm kind of like, who has access to these without paying for it? I'm not in, it's one of them where it's like, I don't know until people come and tell me.
Provoked.
As a moderator, I don't know whether you'll have permissions or not to access them. I also need to get a VIP in here at some point and see if they get access to them.
This is where I step in.
I'll try to make this swift.
Checked in moderator mode and still no nice. Just trying to think, does it show you ones that are locked on things? Come on, scroll me down a little. Yeah, okay, so moderators don't get them for free. Oh well, if you want access to my wonderful, wonderful emotes, which I shall just demonstrate for us now. Maybe. Watch out! Yeah, because I've only got. See, I'm not sure about the bits ones. I need to do some more research into that. But yeah, one asks for a tier 1 sub, one asks for a tier 2 sub, and there's a third one on its way which will ask for a tier 3 sub. I need to find out whether VIPs actually have access to them without paying a subscription.
Bring it!
In which case I might have to start demoting some people from moderator to VIP. Which technically classes a demote. It classes a demote because you can't be a mod and a VIP. I tried doing that. It wouldn't let me. Your alternative is, if you really wanted to use one of the emotes, is actually use your channel points and buy one of them. I was discussing it earlier, the decisions I've been making. Essentially, Tuesday, Thursday is always going to be my primary
In due
game.
time.
Which at the moment is Pathfinder Kingmaker. Then... yeah, you can easily afford both of them, but at the same token, you're not saving up the 10 million for the commissions. Once I've finished, so yeah, Thursday, Friday is, no, Tuesday, Thursday is always going to be the primary game, and that's not going to change. At least until I've finished Pathfinder Kingmaker, and then I'm probably going to promote Cyberpunk to the Thursday, Fridays. Have I missed a button somewhere? I don't think I've missed a button somewhere. Oh, unless it's like I thought. Maybe I need to... Oh. Right, if I come out to this one and see what happens if I toggle this plate. So yeah, Monday, Friday is going to be my secondary game, which will eventually be promoted to the primary game when the primary game's finished. Okay, so that one's not accessible anymore. And if I push this button, that goes up, but this stays down. And did one of these doors change its state? It did not. But yeah, on the secondary game, one of the things is the Monday or the Friday. Potentially I'll be changing it up every now and again rather than just solidly playing that same game all of the time. I will be so like occasionally deciding that instead I want to play, you know, some more Monster Train or maybe some Hearthstone or something along those lines.
As it should be.
For a single stream, and it's also that which is going to be... See, some of these buttons have disappeared entirely. So it's only really this one that I can change again. And changing it just seems to open and close this door right here. Yeah, I'm not too bad at them, figuring them out logically when I'm actually given the buttons to press. But at the moment, it very much seems like I've got one button to press, which opens and closes the one door that I can see right there.
All according to plan.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of logic puzzles, but at least give me the tools that I need. So the other thing that I'm seeing is yellow button, yellow door. But there's also no other yellow buttons. There's a green... No, there is no button here anymore. And there's no button here anymore. Although that looks like it should be a red button. But yeah, also once... I've gotten Pathfinder Kingmaker out of the way. Either completed Cyberpunk 2077 or promoted it to the primary game on the Tuesdays, Thursdays. One of the other two streams will be something, and then I might introduce that channel points idea of sort of like select the game that you wish me to play as a one-off. So you ever get the feeling that you're encountering a bug? See, I can't even touch some of these doors. There's no pressure plates for me to stand on. See, that one's opening and closing that door. But I can't get there. Because I'm guessing this door and this door aren't open. Splitting the party. See, this is why I have other people around. Because rule number one of everything is you never split the party.
A trivial matter.
It's a bit annoying.
I am your shield. Give the order. To
Also a
victory!
bit annoying. You go away, you go away, you go away, you go away. And no. You need to shush. Sorry, my phone has a setting on it, but if it's ever laid like that, it should silence itself. I lay it like that and it doesn't silence itself. So that looks like maybe a blue button? The blue one? Murder! 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 Anybody else daft enough to approach me?
Stay behind me!
Gonna move Octavia into that group.
So it's come to this.
Yes, it has.
Let's try this way. This should do it.
So when it's barbarian, barbarian. And then we delay you to there. So now it's 1, 2, 3, and then back over here. Which flows slightly better. Greetings and salutations, Moto. Yep. I'm still gonna Moto. I actually think to a certain degree I'm gonna have to get a new mobile phone at some point. Not that I really want a new mobile phone. It's just this one has started. If it powers down because I don't let the battery run out, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get it started again. No idea why that might be, but
Repent!
right, and murder.
Expected outcome.
That was a lot of murder. So yes, there's a thing. No.
It is finished.
Vortikai orders us to die, we died. If Vortikai orders us to rise, we rise.
Just letting the ink dry.
And Octavia. You three are now part of group 2. Who want to go over here? Because we're about to push a blue button. What button is... Oh, this is also blue. And this color is open. Right. So now that we've got this button... which just opens the door. It doesn't close it again. Should now allow us to go through this way. And everybody groups up again. Yay!
I see something!
Oh, specters. Oh! That is brutal.
Serves you right.
Gonna shoot you in the vain hopes that they're not gonna run up to me like everybody else and punch me.
Do not falter!
This will hurt. Left yourself open.
Yeah, never a good time with your mobile. Only the King of Gondor can command me. I'm guessing that's a Lord of the Rings reference. Did you figure out which restoration cleared negative levels? No, I did not. And I'm glad that I didn't blow my only restorations that I do have on trying to clear up the one negative level that I did have. Because I do believe I've got several now.
Onwards!
Thank you.
Stay behind me!
You forced my hand.
Immune to non-magical weapons.
Let's try this way.
Yeah, we should come up with some kind of point spend reward system for getting my references.
I'm writing you out of our story.
One of the things that I like, although I really don't have enough followers for it, is on Eleanor Di Lorenzo's channel. She has community bingo. Right, so what gets rid of negative levels? That doesn't help. That's if somebody dies, I think. Does restoration get rid of negative levels? This functions except it also dispels temporary levels or one permanent negative level. Okay, so that restoration will do it. So now we take a look at this and realize that by the end of that fight, I had 3 levels remaining. By the way, if that number ever equals your level, dead. Just dead. I need to bring that camera down a little bit. The seat's a little bit lower. I realize why the seat's actually broken. I keep trying to raise it up and it keeps lowering me down. 2, 4, 4, none. Okay, so Tristan, restoration, me.
No mistakes.
No negative levels. Yay! And now...
Right here, my friend.
Do we have any spare restoration stuff lying around? These are in alphabetical order. So, raise dead. Reduce person. Remove. Scorching ray. No. Potions. Protection. RSP. No. MNOP. Q. R. Remove curse. Resist acid. Resist cold. Resist fire. Shield of faith. Nope. Okay. The points are negative. They are made negative by those who are dead, and the dead keep them negative. Tristan has the bonded object too. Yeah, he does have the bonded object. So I can do it on one other person. It's just I don't know if they're the only ones in here. So I'm gonna keep hold of it for now.
I did as you asked.
Cry not for the dead, for they are blessed. Cry for yourself, for life is suffering. Oh wow, isn't that just depressing? Right, did that open up anything else anywhere? It opened up this one. But I can't open up that one because that's tied to this. Got fancy lights on the north wall. You mean that one? Yeah, I think it's some indication of what buttons I need to press in order to get it to go down. But I'm also a bit confused about how this all works. Because I pressed the blue button and some blue doors went down. But I've also pressed the red button and not all the red doors have gone down. Is there 4 on there? I mean, potentially. Right.
You're but a footnote in our story.
Yeah, that's what I was just double checking. It's like, don't think there is 4,
This
but
should do it.
nope, 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 nope. Abort, abort, abort.
Tear them apart!
You deserved it.
Calculated risk.
Who channeled negative energy? The guy was dead.
I'll fight if I have to.
It's a bit annoying. Right. You go murder the priest. Or don't. Oh, Valerie just failed on the whole person. That makes my job a little bit more difficult. Right, there's something about this healing can. Oh right, no, that's the if somebody dies. Oh god dang it!
I've discovered something.
Oh, G to abort. Okay, that's interesting.
I'll try to make this swift.
I'm so glad that somebody else knows what I'm doing here, because I certainly don't. So
This
if you
will
want to
hurt.
murder him, that'd be great. Any moment you want to start hitting. Where are these negative levels coming from? Trap heals Cyclops Zombie for a lot. Right, I think. They got an old person, you know.
You can't stop me.
Stuff him out. You mate with the murder over there. Maybe if somebody could just start making with the murder. Focus on the
Any
priest.
last wishes?
Oh, Valerie, you broke out of it. Yay. Shit.
Let us strike as one.
Right. You do that.
So it's come to this.
You do that.
Calm down. You're not dead yet.
We're gonna move back a little bit. You're gonna go in a hole for a moment.
Yes.
Bye!
They go down!
Everybody focus on the big guy in the corner.
This is where I step in.
Am I in that circle? Yes, I am.
Let's try this way.
Supply. Wow. Okay.
Consider me provoked.
Okay, you're provoked. There we go.
Do not falter.
Lindsay, can you sing us a song? And move forward a bit. Just want to make sure that you're singing to everybody. And can I get a bless in the house?
This should do it.
And then it crumbles like a rock. So if I click over there and then press G and it stops them. Nice, good to know. I've made that mistake so many times where it's like, just gonna walk over this way a little bit. Okay, we need to figure out what is going on over here with... whatever effect that is. Valerie Robin. What's the other one? Maximize. There we go, that's not a bad deal. Just so I can get over there with everybody else. Now it's waiting for the acid pit to do its job. Or to run out of rounds. And I might have extended it. I did extend it. Well, the zombies are going to be in there a while. Greetings, my cats. Things are going okay. Just trying to kill a zombie cyclops in a pit right now. Which is really easy. We just keep waiting until he either dies or the pit spell fails or runs out. Good to know that the Summer Max stream is going to go ahead. Did they say when and where they were going to be streaming it? Hey, it died. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Josh, but it's all like, yeah.
You see that?
A trivial matter.
A room that was actually locked. Ooh, gold. How useless. And green quartz and clear quartz. Even more useless. Two of them at least.
This is for you.
The rogue is the strong one. The rogue is strong. Oh, the rogue is strong with this one. Terrible English. It's a Star Wars reference, I believe. Come on, fall down already. Well, that's one way of making you fall down.
Repent!
Miss.
I'll fight if I have
Supplies. How about no sneak attack because
Stay
people aren't in
behind me.
position?
Serves you right.
It's almost embarrassing when you see a fighter just walk up to
calculated
somebody and
risk.
miss on all 3 attempts. This loot is shit. Where's the good loot reference? Yeah, okay, I don't get that reference. I just know that the half-broken English seems to be very familiar with, so like, Star Wars. So we press this button. And, oh, does that mean that this one... No, I can't see it if it is. Wait, what? Oh, this one's on a timer. Yay! That door's open. That door's open. Although I think that was after it returned to its initial position. Alright. Let's take it off pause. Click. Click, click. Click. Right. So we have door number 1, which is still closed. We've got door number 2, which is open. Door number 3, which is closed. And door number 4, which is closed. But when we click the button and put it on pause, door number 1 is open. Door number 2 is still open. Door number 3 is open, but door number 4 is still closed. Okay, so.
Ready and willing.
Ready for anything.
What troubles you?
I mean, we need to go examine this anyway. Which can take everybody with. Although we can't. Oh. Does that then open if I press it, or does this mean running around in circles? No, that's tied to that. Right. So if everybody comes around this way. How many hours left on this? 23 hours and 52 minutes. Ooh, 51 minutes. So now everybody should be able to get to this door over here, which then closed. Okay, so Lindsay, you're kind of a useless one.
I need to concentrate. Becoming distracted leads to becoming dismembered. Interesting. A trivial matter.
Missed a trap. Well, I found the trap, just with my face. And yeah, you only get experience if you manage to disarm the traps.
Oh, look!
Oh look, another trap. Hey, we also found another one.
I see something.
It is finished.
I'm listening.
We can take care of that con damage with...
Magricio, Turinos.
I believe I found something.
As it should be.
Anything is possible.
You stayed by that button.
I am prepared. A trivial matter.
Done.
Cry not for the dead, for they are blessed. Cry for yourself, for life is suffering.
In due time.
Not sure if I like the bad guys who are called soul eaters. Just
I am yours to command.
throwing that out there.
We will be victorious.
I should probably save at some point. Ah, to you too.
You forced my hand.
Oh,
Bring it! Let us strike as one!
You can't stop me.
Wait your turn.
I'll try to make this swift.
this will hurt.
Do wish it would allow me to press space between, you know, while it's moving the camera. I don't like the fact that that fortitude saving throw is so low.
Do not falter!
Usually if a fortitude saving throw is low, it means that if you fail it, it's terrible.
Provoked.
So it's come to this.
Can you charge over that? Yeah, you can. So go make that one explode. Close enough. See? Just being able to press tab space while it's moving the camera. You go, oh wait, no, we don't want to go to Lindsay.
They go down!
They go down. Right, motorize it.
This is for you!
Repent!
Stay behind me.
I'll fight if I have to.
Oh, my God, I think you're one of the VIPs. You are a VIP. Could you just check the emotes and see if you've got access to them at all? Because I got my 2 new emotes. Which is Waba and Waba. Ta-da! So yeah, if you look under the emote thing, you might have access to them. You probably don't. It's probably telling you you need to be a tier 1 subscriber or tier 2 subscriber. Right, so I found another button, which also begins ticking. Yeah, you can unlock with bits. Everybody can unlock with bits. You should have, if you click on the channel point, you can unlock with bits or you can unlock with for a stream you can unlock certain emotes if you wished. Or you can unlock them with subscriptions. Okay, so there's no way that I can actually... So now I've got emotes. Nobody can use them until you subscribe. Or you pay me bits. And I think the lowest bits is... 5,000 bits? Or is it 500 bits? Excuse me. The thing is, it doesn't... Because I own the channel, it's not like I can't pay myself bits, so I can just sort of like, hey, pass them around. But yeah, bits is a terrible way of unlocking things. Right, so I get the feeling that if I press on... Because this one's now ticking. So... Wait for that to pop up.
I'm listening. As you order.
There we go. Oh, shoot.
I wrote it like I saw it. Just letting the ink dry.
Remain vigilant.
Bum, ba, bum. So if I click that one, and then I click that one, and that does not do anything for me. So there's likely to be another timed pressure plate around somewhere, I think. Oh god. Okay, so there's that door over there. I think. Yeah. which is based on this time lock. I don't know what that time lock's based on. Oh, will it allow me to go?
Focus on the goal.
Adventures call to them.
I am your shield.
That is not far.
Maybe I shouldn't have used Valor for taking care of that. But that's the position we find ourselves in right now. So, click on that.
What you want?
And then we look through the doorway. Surrendered zombie fighter. Fighter zombie. Well, surrender already.
Done with waiting. Running won't help you! What's that?
God, that's annoying. Oh, it's at the back. Right, that's not a problem. Okay, we could do with... a little bit speed. I'm only really focusing down on this a lot because one of the things that I'm concerned about is the fact that we don't have the tank with us. Who's all the way over here? Which the game insists on dragging us all the way over there just to go, yep, still there. Right. Can't hold person. But don't suppose you want to fall in a hole for a moment. Nope, you don't. Okay, great stuff. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? We're doing okay.
Let's try this way. I didn't even break a sweat.
All the way over here. Sorry, I'm just kind of concentrating on this fight because it's like there's a lot of bad people around. I'm guessing that this is an adventuring party who failed. Right. That is rather annoying. Could you stop it?
Forced my hand.
Seriously, I mean, stop it. No, when I say stop it, I mean drop dead. Again. Please?
This should do it.
God dang it. Jump camera to active is probably toggleable in options if it really is bothering you. It's not so much bothering me, and I kind of prefer it when it's on for the most part. But at the same token, it's just one of them where it's like, alright, let's go check on Valerie. And all we're doing is seeing the camera pan all the way to the other side of a dungeon. Just for me to be able to hit space for it to pan all the way back to the other side of a dungeon.
I'll try to make this swift.
Anybody want to hit this guy? No, there we go. Thank you.
Tear them apart!
A calculated risk.
Yep, Valerie is doing okay.
You can't stop me!
Let's have a channel. Everybody's looking a little ragged.
Any last wishes?
Hey! I have my first subscription. Woo! Yay! Alright, that's enough of that. Thank you, Kurosaka Sakuras, for the subscription. And congratulations, the emotes that you requested have come in.
This will
I mean,
hurt.
at my level, yeah, well, that's the thing. It's all like the Prime subscriptions really are kind of useful to the streamers because, you know, it gets us the value of the subscription, but also, you know, there's a lot of people out there who have the Prime subscription who can just, you know, don't really want to be giving over money to Twitch and or streamers. Because this is the thing. It's I'm in the same boat as a lot of people. I think I've got subscriptions for like 2 streamers because I enjoy the content that they're putting out a lot of the time. But I'm also in a position to be able to afford that, and I don't really mind too much. But at the same token, it's like if they wanted a tier 2 or a tier 3 subscription, it's going to have to be a no from me because nobody is worth that much money. But yeah, the Prime subscriptions, it's like people are paying for the Prime Amazon Prime service, which is what they want, and then they get a sub thrown in there for nothing, which is
Let's try this
great
way.
because, you know, it gives, you know, it takes some money from Amazon and gives a little bit back to the people providing the entertainment.
Consider me provoked.
Don't ask me how much money I'll get from a Prime subscription. I really don't know. I just know that
So
it
it's come
counts
to
as a
this.
subscription. But on the plus side, my emotes did come in. I think Prime subscription only counts as
Strike
the
like a legend.
first subscription tier. And unfortunately, because I'm relatively new to this, and that literally is my first subscription, I have exactly 1 emote per tier level. Penrod Havoc's letter. Oh, Havoc's. Matthias, my beloved brother. Read this and heed my words. This expedition to Iobaria is the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. This is pure madness. If you're lucky, you'll come back empty-handed. A fool in the eyes of all of Galtron, but if unlucky you won't come back at all, leaving your wife a widow, your children's orphans, and me, Adron forbid, the heir and head of this of our insane family. I beg you, by every god and their mother, forget this expedition of yours, come home. Your brother, Penrod Haverick. I found out what happened. Totally forgot that I was in here looking for this guy. Right, did that open up that? That probably didn't open up that because I need to press all three at the same bleeding time. Great stuff. Oh no, that stays depressed. Okay, that's a good sign. There's something still hissing over here and it's quite disturbing.
Follow my lead.
Alright, you go, look. Fair enough. What time is it? It is nearly 8 o'clock. Which means I've been doing this for about 2 hours. Yes! Twitch tells me I've been doing it for 2 hours. I've lost all sense of time just recently. Right. So get through that doorway.
Don't hesitate.
So now depressing both of them opens it up. But I have a terrible feeling that I can't get both down. With the same person. Ghost snake? Yes, ghost snakes. Right. I am going to do a quick BRB. For a moment. Enjoy some soothing background tunes. When this. There we go. BRB. Be back shortly. Alrighty, I am back. My hair is in a state. Let's brush that back. And there we go, hair is fine. It's a great thing I'm wearing headphones. Okay, back to trying to figure out this mess. Cause I need both of them down. I'm going to try something. Before I move people. Come on, Tristan, move it, move it, move it. Click, click, click. No, he wasn't running. So there's a split second where it's possible to do it with one person. I don't think that's going to work. Because I don't think when you click it, they run. Oh no, they do run. So click, 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 click. Yeah, there's like a split second. So if we nominate Lindsay to be one of them, because while she's useful, she's not fantastic. The question is, who else to leave behind? How's Octavia doing for spells? That's a question. See, I've not really used too many of her spells up yet. I mean, I know that I've just used a haste, but I can refresh that. And the haste is really useful. But if I don't leave Octavia behind, one of the people to leave behind is Tristan.
Well?
I mean, is it me? I do a lot of damage. But other people do a fair amount of damage and have better survivability. My main survivability comes from the fact that there's other people around, namely Anne-Marie. But if I leave her, it'd just be me. And she does just as much damage a lot of the time, although not with the sneak attack, which I'm pretty good at. I mean, it depends on what we find in that room. I'm thinking of this as a purely combative thing. I think I'm going to leave Lindsay and Amory. In which case, Tristan, Octavia, and me need to figure out how to get to the other door.
Anything is possible.
Which hopefully shouldn't be too difficult. But this could also be a fatal, fatal mistake.
In due time.
Somebody got cut off.
What troubles you?
Share your troubles.
Of course it's Octavia. Stop dilly-dallying around. Right.
Here I am. See?
I wrote it like I saw it.
I am yours to command.
In we go. Aha. That I do believe just opened up the whole dungeon.
What you want?
Okay. All that thinking for no apparent reason. We just wait for everybody to get here.
I'm listening.
And then we remember Lindsay's got really short legs. Okay, let's save it and press on.
As it should be.
Oh look,
We've down
Soul Eater.
better ones.
4 of them somewhere.
This is for you.
Doop doop doo doop doop doo. Itchy nose.
This should do it.
Repent!
Serves you right.
That's 1 down.
Let us strike as one. Ah!
We found out what the Soul Eaters do. They decrease wisdom.
You forced my hand.
I'll fight if I have to.
There we go. Do like it when the ranged people manage to get the killing blow, because they'll actually use their multi-attacks on something else that's within range. Whereas when it's the melee fighters, if the target dies, then they're kind of stuck with wherever they wandered to. Very, very quiet. Oh, that doesn't look good. Remember death, for death always remembers you.
That is not far.
Oh. We just got updated stats on zombie cyclops. Ah, the defaced sister.
I've been waiting for you.
A tiny woman wrapped in a cloak studies you through the holes in the cloth that hides her face. Her eyes are green as young leaves. I've been waiting for you.
These people trusted you, And you brought them like cattle to the slaughter. A whole squad! You'll pay for this! You wanna feed me some excuses? Beg for mercy? I don't care! Just like you didn't care about them!
Well, that's one way of dealing with the deface system. Now I've got to lie about that later. Maybe. Shoot.
A calculated risk.
Do not falter!
Sorry, I'm just basically trying to concentrate on all of the abilities that I have open to me so that maybe, just maybe, I can get out of this alive. Of course, it doesn't help when you start rolling low. Come on, Amory. Stop bleeding it in. It's a terrible time to fail your saving throw, Amory. See, one of the things I picked up was a wand. Because I think... Oh no, you've still got the freedom of movement spell. Okay.
Let's try this way. This should do it.
Who the... Lindsay just got mauled. I need you to move over there and cast freedom of movement on Amory. Please? No? Okay, great stuff. Now I've just essentially ran you into what is essentially the murder zone. Let's move back a little bit and take out that guy. Excellent. That one's after that one. Oof.
This won't kill me.
Oh, it might kill you. It might very well kill you. Thank God for haste. Shazbot. Double Shazbot. What have we got? Hey, you managed to save. That might actually keep you alive.
Bring it.
Onwards! Stay behind me!
This won't kill me.
You deserved it.
A calculated risk.
Oh, look!
No, it's not the time, Octavia.
Tear them apart!
Let us strike as one.
Protect me, please.
This will hurt.
There we go. Ta-da!
A trivial matter.
Okay, so we didn't find a relic over here. Didn't find much in the way of EXP either. Go pick up the meaty chunks of this guy. I think that's all. Ooh.
Why?
Before you is the same raven as before. It sits, adjusts itself and ruffles its feathers a few times as it tries to settle on its perch. Finally, it cocks its head to the side and affixes you with a single eye. Why?
Why kill the sister? Why walk the path of destruction?
She had suffered enough. I spared her from future pain.
Is that how you rationalize your deeds? You may use such weak tales to fool those that fear you, but I do not. I see you for who you are.
I didn't kill her. The raven sits on its perch but remains silent.
How may I help?
Just in case I missed any traps on the way in here. Tristan, I would like you to, because I believe it's time for me to bug out of here. Let's restore Valerie and get rid of those negative levels. So many little piles of loot. And I do believe it's time to go back to my capital, because I'm carrying a lot of junk. What? Oriner. Furious weapon serves as focus for its wielder's anger. When the wielder is raging or under the effects of a rage spell, the weapon's enhancement bonus is it's 2 better than normal. This +1 furious throwing axe grants the wielder a +5 competence bonus to all mobility skill checks. I mean, that might have its uses, I suppose. Well, this has been a nice little dungeon to delve in for this session. I believe I've been everywhere in the dungeon. And if I've not been somewhere, it's because it's behind a hidden door that I've not discovered. Oh yeah,
Right
wisdom
here, my
damage. We don't have a lesser restoration for that here either. Bum ba bum. I missed some stuff lying around. I do believe it is time to go back to the capital and check out what's going on and sell off all of this junk. Where is my capital? It's actually a fair distance away. With all the loot that I'm carrying. I think it'd take longer to get there. If I make a stop off at Silverstep, Lake Silverstep Village, I believe there is a vendor that I can get rid of a lot of this stuff. What does my kingdom want?
I need to catch my breath.
Crippled and wounded soldiers discharged from the army aren't willing to return to their farms and instead form gangs and resort to highway robbery. There's no use in arresting them as new gangs will just take their place. You have a terrible chance of succeeding in that. You don't have much of a chance of succeeding in that, but it's a better one. Right, continue.
May we have a moment of respite?
Never! Soul Eaters become more dangerous if they know their victims' names. Alright, tell nobody my name. I think there's a vendor here somewhere. I could be wrong. Come on. Villager, villager, villager. Villagers, villager. I'll see your wares. There we go. So it's technically a +4, but I just... Because Amory is so focused in that blade of hers, it makes it very difficult. I think to a certain degree this is one of the things that I kind of dislike about Pathfinder in general. Is to really make weapons work in this, you have to focus. And when you start focusing so much down a particular route, there's no getting out of it. Not without totally respecking your character. And nobody wants to have to respec their character every time they find a new fancier weapon. And also if you're playing the tabletop edition, you know, there's not many GMs out there that would be willing to allow for players to respec. Is there any decent stuff here? Beacon. What does beacon do? Each time a +2 hand axe lands a hit, the enemy must pass the reflex saving throw or get blinded for 1d3 rounds. Although it's a very low reflex saving throw. And it's a hand axe. Yep, nothing of interest there. And now you've got plenty of stock to sell to other wannabe adventurers in the area. And I have a lot of gold. And I can also now move again at speed on the other Latin map. Oh, the temporary negative levels have actually gone away. That's useful. They were indeed temporary. Live. The stolen lands are dangerous even for experienced adventurers. Owlcat said they have focused on wider weapon availability. The thing is, it's not so much
have a moment of respite.
The availability of weapons. It's more, unless they've done something that allows for a dynamic style of weapon. Or actually focused in the groups. Because you've got the falchion, the scimitar, the saber, the longsword, the short sword, the broadsword, the bastard sword, the two-handed sword, the great sword, the twin blade sword. And that's just the swords. I've just named 10. And that's not including the daggers, which you could reasonably classify. So you got dagger, kuriki, kukri, sorry, punch dagger. There's so many, and it's like, okay, I've just managed to loot a punch dagger. Now, my character is built for punch daggers. There doesn't seem to be a special one in this game. But the kukri that I found, they're very nice. However, I wasn't in any way spec'd for the kukri. I could go to the tavern and respec my character, but I don't want to do that in the general sense of this is a role-playing game, so play the role. But off the back of that, even if I did do a respec and then the next dungeon I go into, I find a pair of twinned punch daggers, I'd have to go back to the tavern and respec all over again. And, you know, yes, okay, it's great that it's in there, but leveling up without guides and without doing a lot of research into the best builds for this and the best builds for that, it can be a quite draining
How do you
and time
manage to keep
consuming.
your cool in battle? I always get terribly worried. What if something goes wrong and we all get eaten up?
I'd worry too. But I'm encouraged by the battle songs of brave little bard.
And it's a problem with Pathfinder, you know, and there's other games out there, you know, Baldur's Gate 2 suffered from a similar issue. If you look at games like the Elder Scrolls series, where it used to be a case that you had long blade, short blade, blah blah blah, and a whole bunch of them. Now in Skyrim, you've got bladed weapons and blunt weapons. You've got, I think you've got if J Station's around, he'll probably correct me, but I think you've got one for shields? Or is it one-handed and two-handed? I can't remember right now. But by having smaller groupings, I think there are special weapons you can choose what they will be when you receive them, embed level relevant weapons across all types. Yeah, and that's one way of doing it, because it's dynamic looting. The only thing with that, though, is I appreciate what you're saying, and they might have done it well in Wrath of the Righteous. If you go back to the game Neverwinter Nights, which was 3.5 edition D&D, that had generated loot system. So, you know, if you opened up a chest and didn't like the contents, you could reload it and open up the chest again, and it might have better contents. If you really wanted to save scum your way around. But what it also did is it had certain logic in there to be sort of like, okay, this player is focus, you know, they've got weapon focus katana, and so you open up the box and there's going to be a katana in there. You open it up as any other character, if you didn't have a weapon focus, it would drop something in that is your class is proficient in. Or whatever. It could be a bow, it could be a crossbow, it could be anything you wanted, and that to me smacked a little bit of unrealistic. Because, you know, in the deepest, dankest dungeon where there's nobody but goblins, for some reason, these goblins had a very nice and shiny katana in there that nobody was using. Failure. The bewildered astrologist said that his prophecies foreseen the coming of illness of the Baron. Soon he will be cursed and won't be able to touch anything of color, anything the color of red. Beyond this, the future is uncertain. Okay. Oh no, I appreciate you're not quite sure. I've got stuck on an Oblivion mechanic like that. You could just save before getting an Oblivion Spare and whatever it was called. And it randomly generated super powerful abilities. Ended up getting stuck looping, searching for the right ability again and again and again. Yeah, that's a case of, in point, is like that's where the randomness can be an issue. Don't know how well it's implemented. And yeah, it could be implemented fairly well. You know, it could be that a weaponsmith comes to you and says, I can make you a blade or a blunt weapon. I can make you a weapon of your choice. And you get to go down a list of options. And it's like, I would like a punch dagger of blah, blah, blah. And there's systems, and I'm trying to remember a game like that. Going really far back. I'm trying to remember the latest game that had it. In Masters of Magic, which is a super old Microprose game. There was a item creation system, and you choose what bits that you wanted, and you could make into it whatever you desired, which was a good thing because, you know, you'd have multiple heroes, some of them spellcasters which wanted staffs, some of them fighters, and the whole lot. And you were in control of an empire. Literally, it was a Civilization-esque kind of game. So you'd start off with your little home village, and then you build caravans and make more villages and build them up to cities, blah, blah, blah. It was very simplistic for modern day standards. But you could craft whatever weapons and items that you needed for the particular heroes. Yeah, and in this one you can do the same. You can ask people to create things that are semi-specific. You're the only one available, and you're terrible at this. Mysterious complaints are right. Can I actually replace you? Is there anybody who's a better community advisor than you? No. No, there isn't. Alright, you'll have to do 40% chance of success. Even adding one isn't really worth it. I mean, it takes it over half, but oh well. But yeah, again, there's a disadvantage I find to super specific, because in Masters of Magic, for example, it got to a stage in the game that if your hero didn't have equipment, they were likely to lose a fair fight against another hero with exactly the same army, because they had overpowering or even lesser armors in some cases, because they had this armorer that ultimately was specific to them and their abilities, and you can end up
In due time.
having to then study more things. Here's some relics, and I found shards of ancient artifacts. The captain of the guard told me you had a fight with Valerie. Alas, this is true. I didn't believe me, I didn't want to fight, but my full curiosity wounds Valerie's pride. I will apologize to her the first chance I get. What was the fight about? I asked Valerie if she still had anything related to the Eternal Rose Order. From back when she was a novice, an innocent question, but she took it as impudence or insult. Please, don't blame her. I'm to blame for what happened. Do you think Valerie has been acting strange lately? What can I say? We're not that close. She has no interest in things that matter to me, and I prefer the world of ancient heroes and old legends, not the fuss that's all around us here and now. So I don't have a answer for your question. But I know that those who consider Valerie a close companion might be hurt by her words. Yesterday I talked to Lindsay, and when I mentioned Valerie, I heard sorrow and tears in her voice. Maybe the tireless chronicler is having a tough time for the very same reason that you honoured me with your visit today. That is all I wanted to know. Till we meet again. Right, where's Lindsay? No, that's Jubilios. That's Valerie. Well, so Lindsay won't be anywhere near her. My God. And yeah, so if it's not, depending on how they've implemented it, and, until they actually implement it, I'm not going to judge them too harshly, because there are, games where you can craft things and it works out very well for you. Again, but going back to the Elder Scrolls series, apart from Oblivion, where it was the semi-random stuff, and you'd end up just trying to loot the same thing over and over again until you found just the right one, and the power level in those things was ridiculous. I remember doing similar things when it came to where is, I mean, okay, where's a pub? These are all how. Oh. Tavern Capital Tavern. Okay. You know, with Oblivion, it's like you could get some of these Oblivion spheres that would be sort of like the ability to breathe underwater, and it's like I've already got something that allows me to breathe underwater. I have spells for that, or I have this for that, so it was kind of useless. So you were always tempted to save it to make sure that you didn't get something equally useless. Is Lindsay in here? What's interesting is I see Amory in here again, and I'm pretty sure I saw her outside and in the castle. Did you manage to find anything? Take a look at this letter. It's related to your family. I found it on a dead body lying in an ancient Cyclops' tomb. Edris grabs the letter and eagerly starts reading it line by line, faded though it is with time. A tome of Cyclopses? It looks like he might shed some light on one of on the secrets of our family. The bones you found were the remains of my great grandfather, Mathian Hanvaki. Well, the picture's perfectly clear now. Oh, if only this ill-conceived letter had been lost to time. If my poor brother hadn't found it and been infected with this deadly craving for adventure. Well, your grace. Today I leave for Galtron, the city in which, from this day on, you will have a loyal friend and ally. Farewell. Ring of improvised proficiencies. And a new event, a curse to research. Great stuff. Well, 2 to AC and a +1 on all attack rolls. I think it goes Chevalier Amracer. But yeah, so being able to pick and choose what you want to have made for you, and even if it goes down a super specific route, as long as it's not too detailed. I mean, this is one of the things. It's all I like the idea of being able to super detail. It's all I want leather armor, or I want studded leather armor. Right, where the hell is Lindsay hiding? Oh, there she is at the end of the table.
What to do.
There she is. If it's super specific, it's nice, but at the same token, it can be a little bit draining because of all the options that you could make. And also, one of the things that I enjoy about D&D and Pathfinder in general is like when you open up that chest right at the end of a dungeon and there happens to be something that perfectly matches your class, and you know that it's not randomly loaded loot, or it's not something that the GM has specifically picked out for you. You feel very, very satisfied, for want of a better word, that by pure serendipity, you made the right choices as to that loot is precisely what your character would need. When you get to go down the other route of specifying it to the nth degree, the game can become a little bit mundane because it's like, I need to go see this person so that I can unlock this thing that allows me to add another +1 onto my weapons, and then I need to gather the money up to do that. You're just continually chasing the next big thing, knowing exactly, or knowing that it's out there. And that can be a bit of a drain, especially if you're replaying the game. It's like, do I bother getting this improvement? Because it'll be replaced by this improvement here, but it'll make the game so much more difficult up until that point. But will it make it impossible? Who knows? Anyway, that's just me blathering on. I'll hold judgment on how well Owlcat has done it for when they've actually done it, and I don't see them doing anything drastically wrong with it. But I am now curious to know about it, because it'd be nice in some ways to be able to go, oh yeah, I want to play it as, somebody who uses punch daggers, and then late in the game it will still be a relevant skill. Anyway, back to the plot. Just a moment, I just got something. Lindsay quickly scribbles something in her notebook, then raises her eyes and smiles at you. Hi! Have you noticed anything strange about Valerie lately? Lindsay lingers and then sighs dully. I had a fight with her, a big one. Well, I wanted to talk to her about the best way to describe the colour of her hair in the book, and she said my book is trash, and I'd be no better if I busied my time with... I don't even want to repeat it. How could she hurt you like that? Yes, I mean, wait. I wasn't hurt, it's just... it doesn't matter. To be honest, Valerie hasn't been herself lately. Usually she's polite, though she can be cold at times. But now it's like she's changed. After all, she got that scar. I talked to her before, and she wasn't very nice that time either. She's gotten so spiteful after she got hurt, though she keeps saying she doesn't care. Just don't leave without me, of course. I just want to write about whatever you tell me, but if you wanted me to stay cooped up in this room, I'd sleep through lectures at the academy. Oh well. That was me saying goodbye. Valerie, what the fuck has gotten into you? Valerie, we need to talk. You've been acting strangely recently. Acting strange lately. If you're going to bring up that scene in the throne room, don't waste your breath. Evelyn completely deserved that speech. I know that you had a fight with the storyteller, and you yelled at Lindsay. The storyteller, what business of his if I have anything left from the order? Does he imagine I'm still carrying around Shaylin's radiant face as a souvenir? And as for Lindsay, she knows full well how her constant babbling about her book irritates me. The captain of the guard said you were taking it out on random people. So the captain of the guard thinks I'm incapable of carrying out my duties to you and your subjects. Perhaps he should change his armor for a judge's mantle if he's so ready to declare such verdicts. And why did you think that Pasquidade next to the tavern entrance was about you? Who else could have done that? That scribbler used to never leave me alone, dogged my heels, asked questions whenever I appeared on the street, and now... Valerie stops angrily and looks away. Listen to yourself. Why all this bile? I want to help you. Valerie twists her lips and looks away, as if she wants to end the conversation. Valerie? When the girl starts talking again, her voice is soft. Please forgive me, Chiron. I understand your worries. My behavior over the last few weeks has indeed left much to be desired. I don't know why I'm doing these things. You've simply run out of patience. That sometimes happens when you're surrounded by idiots. You mean the palace squid? The what? Pasquinade. It's basically the same word that's been repeated throughout this plot line, if that's the word that you're thinking about. Lindsay thinks you're concerned about the scar. So typical, such a superficial opinion, a superficial conclusion. Forgive me, it's difficult to admit I was wrong, and scatterbrained Lindsay is apparently right. The girl hesitates, lifts her head, and touches the scar on her face. Since it appeared, it's like the world around me has changed. Whenever I went before, my admirers, followers, and bards used to follow me around. And now it's like I'm invisible. Worse, I see how those I talk to try hard not to look at the scar. It's like it undid me completely. Valerie stops again, absent-mindedly running the tips of her fingers over the ugly scar on her face. She finally pulls her hand from her face and looks at you. I think it's a Paizo thing. Paizo really do like bringing up old words that you have to go looking online to figure out what they meant. And whenever they use a word like that, they tend to repeat it a few times throughout the particular subject. For example, like, as far as I'm aware, it's only really been brought up in Valerie's questline, but seen as though it was mentioned in her questline, it is going to be repeated throughout her questline. I've never seriously imagined what would happen if I lost my beauty, and I thought my actions would speak much louder than my appearance. But now I'm having doubts in this and in everything else, I keep telling myself. You always said that beauty isn't really important. Are you changing your views now? Valerie looks at you pensively for a few moments and shakes her head with determination. No, if I'm about to break when somebody looks at me for askance, after everything I've been through, it means I never actually been worth anything. I may as well stayed with the Order and lived meekly by Shaylin's orders. Ugh. Valerie straightens her shoulders and looks around with determination. I shouldn't have wasted time on these useless thoughts. I promise that you won't be bothered by any complaints about me, except perhaps for those who truly deserve a harsh response. Thank you for this conversation. I knew you would support me. Is that it? Research into the nature of curses. Ooh, I can send Octavia on it. I can actually send her on a few. 45 days, 60 days, 45 days. And that will improve the divine and arcane. That might not do anything. That will only improve the arcane. So, let's do this one first. Alright. Next session we'll be going on to one of the other places. I'm tempted to do the City of Hollow Eyes, but we'll see, because that's pretty much clear the other side of the map. And the other one, I think, is closer. I'm not sure, without going out to the map. But anyway, it is 2 minutes past, and time for me to wrap up the stream. So let us save. Saving. Go away. Game saved. Okay, great stuff. Let's go back to the just talking for a bit. It's just me, or does that seem loud to... I don't know. I can't really get it much quieter than that. So yeah, this has been session 44 of Pathfinder Kingmaker. I'm feeling good about it at the moment. Very clear the idea of where it's going. In other Pathfinder-related news, Path of the Righteous actually went into beta today, or yesterday, one of the two. I definitely saw something on Facebook about it going into beta today. But whether that was posted yesterday, I don't know. I will be back on Thursday to continue on this, and as always I will be continuing on until this is over, whether I get frustrated at it or not. It still feels like it's slow going. I mean, if this was 44, can I have a calculator? 44 times 3 minus 10. It's 122 hours so far I've invested in this game, roughly. I do appreciate that a lot, you know, there's probably, you know, if you went back through all of my videos and took out the chunks where I'm just talking random stuff not related to the game and not really paying attention to the game, then the time might come down a little bit. But, you know, to a certain degree, that's the wonders of Twitch. I get to talk about random things at random people and see how things go. Okay, let's see if there's anybody worthwhile rating. I'm tempted to... there's a few people that I know who are streaming, but nobody's streaming anything interesting in my humble opinion. So I'm just gonna go with my de facto Halfsinger Games, although really entirely honest with you, she's playing... How long is a full level 20 tabletop campaign on average? I don't actually know. So I've played Starfinder Adventure Path to completion, but that only covers from level 1 to 13. I've played D&D campaigns, but they've never gone up to level 20. I'm trying to remember how many hours that, I've got to say that it's been about north of 400 hours? Is that what you're guessing? I was going to say, this... No, that was sarcastic. The thing is, it wouldn't actually surprise me if it's around about that long. I don't actually know. One of the odd things is it depends on your GM, it depends on the group. Despite my best wishes, I'm a very fast GM. I like to keep the group focused on what they're supposed to be doing. I like to make sure that, you know, combat is fairly concise and meaningful. So I will speed things up. People will die if the combat is not very interesting, and I know that the players are going to win. You know, we've discussed this where it's like, oh, here's a group of goblins. I won't play it out because they're level 12 heroes and that's a group of goblins and there's not 100 of them. The heroes are going to win. So it's all like, yeah, you come across a band of goblins, you wipe them out. Here's the total number of copper pieces that they were carrying around. Yeah, I ran a 4-hour session with some pro players. Pro players? They went down a corridor entire session. Oh, yeah. I think I remember discussing you with this one. But yeah, other GMs will be sort of like, leave the players to their own devices. They've got to figure everything out on their own. They'll throw every Critical Role campaign over 100 episodes that are probably 3 hours each, typical. I mean, that doesn't sound unreasonable. The Critical Role campaign, however, they did actually start off not at first level. For the first campaign, they've still yet to complete the second campaign. And also, Matt Mercer's GMing style is very much so like, what do you want to do and how are we going to go about doing this? Which left the players very much up to debate sometimes. I don't mind players debating as long as they know what's there, what options are there, and where... Because one of the things about running an adventure path over a homebrew campaign is... When I pick up an adventure path, if the players need to storm the castle, then the players are going to storm the castle. There is no ifs, buts, or maybes about that. They might come up with other things that they want to try, and I'll indulge them. And yes, okay, it depends on how much of a major part of the plot it is. For example, when I was running the Curse of Strahd, where the whole thing centers around the ultimate fight being you storm the castle, then at the end of the game you are going to be storming the castle at some point. Whether you choose to do that stealthily or out in the open, that's up to the players. But at the same token, there's no getting around storming the castle. Whereas, you know, it's like they need to go into this office block to find some information. I'm talking about Starfinder, is they can go in through the front doors and bully and bluster the way past through role-playing, or they can choose to approach the offices at night and break into the place. And depending on how much discussion the players want to do, because some groups will be sort of like plan everything out to the nth degree and talk about all the options and talk about all of the things that could go wrong with raiding the place, with diplomatizing, with bribing, and all just over the top. I feel over the top planning going into these things, and you know, you've seen it. I've definitely seen it on Critical Role, where they've had entire sessions where it was just planning on scheming and what their next move is going to be. The other thing about homebrew is, you know, combat can be slightly quicker, but it can also be longer. It depends on how much you've refined encounters down to, don't make it overly complicated, but make it interesting enough. If you've made it interesting enough and you've paid attention to it, you know all the different mechanics that you're going to be throwing into there. If you make it too complicated, then it starts getting bogged down, which it can do in adventure paths when, you know, the Curse of Strahd, I'll go back to this as an example. You know, the average book is yay big. In the back of this book, we have stat blocks. And on that one page, this one here, there are stat blocks for creatures. I'm not keeping this in focus because copyright, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if you're building an encounter using those 4 stat blocks, I mean, it would be very interesting. In the back of the player's handbook, they're not very imaginative things. But they're 4 very simple creatures that you can make an encounter of, and it's not going to last very long because it's not a complicated encounter. In the end of Curse of Strahd, Strahd has an entire page to himself on his abilities. And there are other people in the room as well, potentially, depending on where it takes place and how well you've whittled it down and isolated Strahd. And so if a GM hasn't paid enough attention to all of the different things, the combat can again be bogged down because they're constantly going back to the book, rereading things because they don't know it off the top of their head like a homebrew GM can be. So when it comes to like how long is a full level 20 tabletop campaign, there's a lot of different factors. And also one of the other factors is, again, taking it away from the Twitch side of things, it's like, I have the feeling that if I was playing this without Twitch and my constant rambling off the top subjects, I possibly might be finished by now. Maybe. Sometimes, you'll be running a session and the players get hungry and it's time to stop for pizza, and then there's a 15-minute discussion while pizza gets ordered, and then another 10-minute interruption when pizza arrives. It's just things that you got to roll with as a GM, and in some cases, in the past, it has frustrated me because it's like I just want to get on with this game. That's what we're all here for, and everybody else is like, oh, so what are we going to eat? And it's like, I don't care. You should have eaten before we arrived. Did you think about that one? So yeah. 400 hours, roughly, wouldn't actually be a bad estimate in a level 20 campaign. The other factors to also include, there's a guide. My homebrew campaign is on session 33, and our level 5 about to go on 6. Jay, you're a very slow GM. I think Attack of the Swarm started before around the same time that I started Dawn of Flame. The sessions are roughly the same length. We've had roughly the same number of interruptions. Dawn of Flame has finished book 4. I think we're halfway through book 3 off the top of my head for Attack of the Swarm. Again, you say 33 sessions. You've not mentioned how long your sessions are, though. Because if they're 1 hour sessions, then 33 hours to get to level 6 might not be too bad. If they're 5 hour sessions, it's slow going. The other factors are what your GM chooses to do. I realize that I'm rocking and it might be disturbing some people, but it's soothing me, so I don't care. You can milestone as a GM, so you basically tell the players when they level up, they don't get experience. This is recommended if the players are just running around looking for things to murder all of the time, because by milestoning it, it doesn't matter how many people you murder, you'll level up. When I say you'll level up, you need to do your investigations, you need to do your conversations, you need to do your role-playing. In your homebrew, as I'm led by the players, 3 hours a pop, you guys got into the Last 10% of book 3 at the moment. Spoiler alert, I'm surprised at the pace of Attack of the Swarm. I've been pushing you guys ahead of the curve slightly at that too. I'm confused there with what you mean. Surprised at the pace in Attack of the Swarm. I've been pushing you guys ahead of the curve. In terms of experience or in terms of gameplay? Because I don't mind how long it plays. It's one of them where it's like, I don't have any complaints about a slow game. I really like the role-playing side of things, and if it takes longer, then it takes longer. Pushing us ahead, in terms of trying to speed things up, it's a little bit hit and miss on whether it's, going to be a positive thing. The other thing is, if you're a GM who's doing it by experience, it can depend on how many other or what you give experience out for in terms of homebrew, and it can depend on how much the players are doing the things when it comes to an adventure path. So, for example, in Starfinder, just doing some of the investigations right at the start of some of the books will earn you experience. Doing some of the role-playing and asking the right questions and finding out certain aspects without getting into combat will earn you experience. You get that in Pathfinder Kingmaker, but one of the things that I've found in Pathfinder Kingmaker, if you find and disarm the trap, you get experience. If you find the trap by slamming your face into it and taking the damage, you don't get experience. That's not how it goes in the books. But at the same token, it might also depend on GM to GM, because I'm very much of the opinion of, no, you managed to overcome the trap. Even if it was by bashing your face into it, it's still overcoming a trap. So you get the XP that was associated with that trap. If you manage to find it and disarm it, then congratulations, you've managed to gain experience without taking damage. But I nearly always give the experience for traps. If you have to run away from an encounter, I'll occasionally give some experience. If I have an encounter run off because the players are struggling in certain places, and it's like, if I draw this out and if I do it to the best of my abilities, I am just going to kill everybody. Nobody wants that in a tabletop game, because, like I was discussing earlier, is XP, not gameplay. I've stopped smoothing the edge in terms of narrative, and it seems to have sped up a little. Also, as I said before, book 3 is so far my fave. I feel like book 1 and 2 was odd jobs with tiny plot hint. Not a real criticism, but the bits felt fillery. But what I was saying was, I feel you guys should have a few more levels behind you now, but maybe that's just me being greedy for levels when I'm a player. In the front of the adventure paths, it should actually tell you exactly where the players should be up to. If I just grab a random book over here, for example, Dawn of Flame, Paizo thing is, there should be a page that looks roughly like that, and each one of them text blocks tells you part 1, the advancement track, not the text box is sort of like the chapter things. You've got the block there, where it's all the advancement track, and it'll say the PC should be 9th level by the end of the adventure. They should start on 7th level, and they'll be 8th level when they initially explore a location. I'm not going to read it out because maybe spoilers for people. If they recognize the Adventure Path book and what's going on. But yeah, there is, and it does. You guys are a tiny bit ahead of the curve. The wavering on the levels isn't too bad of a thing. I mean, you padding it out and smoothing out the edges of the narrative was appreciated, and it's one of them where in some cases it's a little bit sort of like you shouldn't really have to, but at the same token it makes sense to. I find it's difficult for me to smooth out the edges because I don't recognize where the plot holes are. But yeah, the fact that it took longer for the first 2 books, because you say that we're in the last parts of, you guys are in the last 10% of book 3 at the moment. It's all like, I did not realize that we were coming to the end of book 3. I was expecting more to be happening. If I'm entirely honest with you, I don't want to go into too much detail because, you know, spoilers for potential people listening. And also spoilers for myself. But, yeah, so back to the initial question. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be a spoiler. I mean, the thing is, I don't know what's going on in books 4 through 6. So, it's not really a spoiler, knowing where we are up to in the book. It's just I wasn't expecting us to be at the end of another book just yet, with everything that we've achieved so far. It's like, we came down to this place, we found things, we took care of a thing to allow us access to another thing, and by what you're suggesting there is, once we finish that thing, that's it for book 3. That seems rather brief compared to books 1 and 2. But then again, I also can't really remember what was book 1 and 2. All I remember is Loachworth is a dick. And I hate him with a passion. That was possibly a bit of a spoiler if anybody was paying attention, but at the same token, I feel my GM played him rather aggressively. And yeah, your greatest achievement is my worst freaking nightmare. So yeah, that just about covers. So yeah, how long's a piece of string when it comes to all the sessions needed, how much time it takes to go from level 1 to level 20 in a tabletop game. And then there's even some insane people out there who basically start campaigns at level 20 and see how it goes from there. Been involved in one of them. I wasn't involved for very long because it just didn't really appeal to me. And I can say that it was like, yeah, it was kind of interesting playing at level 20, but at the same token, there wasn't really much to look forward to. Just actually, character creation was quite an experience in that case. Because I decided, you know, everybody was discussing what classes and races that they were going to be. Yeah, no worries about keeping me this late. I mean, it's one of them where it's like, if I had somewhere to be and if I needed to be there, then I'd just go. I don't mind answering these questions. I do really need to get a drink at some point because my throat is starting to give out on me. So I am probably going to wrap it up. But yeah, everybody else was discussing their classes and what they were going to be, and I decided to be the wizard. I was a level 20 wizard. Do you have any idea how long it takes to prepare a level 20 wizard as a new character? It was an absolute nightmare. And I think that's one of the things that kind of burnt me out on that campaign before it even began, because it was like, I've done all of this work, and now I just want the payoff, and the GM was very much trying to make it as awkward as possible, because there still has to be some challenge, and it would have been nice if there was 1 or 2 encounters where we actually felt like we were super powerful level 20s, and there wasn't. It was all like, okay, now that everybody's generated their characters, I'm going to throw encounters at you. you know, in with the narrative, but at the same token, it was aha. You have it wasn't just, it was wave after wave of dragons. And as somebody who prepared next to no actual damage dealing spells and was doing battlefield control, it was a time trying to go through all of these spells and go through so many of these abilities only for him to negate them at some stages, because it's like, oh, you made a wall of force. Well, all I'm going to do is blow smoke over it because I'm a red dragon. The thing is, a control, it's one of them. If you go down damage or control, one of the easiest things for me was, because this was before a lot of the extra books, one of the things that I did with the player's handbook, and I have the spell cards around somewhere, was I went through and selected out all of the wizard spells. That's step 1. Step 2, throw away any cards that actually deal damage. Then you're starting to limit options. And also, it's like, why bother taking Featherfall when you can take Flight? Why bother taking Levitate when you can take Flight? Why take Identity, and there's a lot of options, but at the same token, by going purely control wizard rather than damage, it was like, I managed to get rid of a good half of the spells just by going, nope, that one says it does X amount of damage. It didn't matter if it was in addition to something. It was just a case of, no, it does damage, get rid of it. I'm trying to think of a spell that's got damage on there that's more classified as a utility one, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. Anyway, so yeah, that's my past escapades. Yeah, depending on your group, it really does depend on how long it takes to do any campaign, and then even then, it's like you can take the same group and give them a different GM, and it changes the time again, and the GM might change their style over time. They might be like, okay, let's start them off slowly, make sure everybody's up to speed, and then run through it towards the end because they realize that they're having a kid and they need to get it wrapped up before the kid arrives, so they'll speed it up towards the last sections of it. Who knows? Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to send you all off to Pathfinder Games. Feel free to say hi from me, but she is playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, or New Leaf, whatever the one is on the Switch. Group times GM plus shenanigans divided by interruptions. Yeah, but I suppose you could say whether Adventure Path or Homebrew is part of a GM equation there, but I think the GM equation needs to be expanded a lot. That's not real math, lol. I appreciate that, but it's one of them where it's like, it can sum it up a little bit, because the other thing is it depends on how big the group is, as opposed to, and how experienced the GM is. Plus as well the shenanigans and the interruptions. I think they should all be pluses or multiplications. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap up the stream and stop talking, and we're all going to go to Pathfinder Games, say hi, and then probably stop watching, because Animal Crossing, it's an okay game to play, but watching somebody else play it, it's kind of, well, droll, if you ask me. So, I will be back on Thursday, usual time. I also stream Mondays and Fridays. At usual times, I said usual time for when I'm back on Thursday, but you want to check the schedule below. I'm also usually back on Saturdays playing some kind of co-op game with Magcat. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.